Welcome back to the Uncarved Block. It's been a while. Yes, it's true. I had a dog that got diagnosed with metastatic cancer, and he had we didn't know at the time, but we were lucky to get 2 months more loving out of him, but eventually had to let him go. And toward the end of that time, I also got ill, so I just haven't had the inclination to make videos, especially if I want to get her and cough my head off. In a way, this is a test because I got a couple of people that want to do a live discussion / debate with me. And I had to put them off because of my coughing. I still think I've agitated my vagus nerve, especially at night. It gets it to me. But I want to take this moment to address, criticize, make fun of this guy named Big Jon Steel. He's a Christian apologist. I think he might live in Canada. I'm not sure. But although he admits he's a white belt, he's still incredibly arrogant. And I wanted to point out how he's not exactly living up to Christian ideals.
No, it's not.
Oh my fucking God. There's no way you guys are this stupid. When I hold on, you freaking idiot. George.
Colossians 3:8. But now you must also rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips.
What?
Great. Thank you. A square is always a square. That was my whole fucking point.
That's not even the point.
It's not what I asked you. You're literally an idiot. I appreciate your time. God bless.
Ephesians 5:4. Nor should there be obscenity, foolish talk, or coarse joking, which are out of place, but rather thanksgiving.
Right? You can call it square. You can call it blah, blah, blah. You can call it blah, 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 blah. You can call it, you call it whatever the fuck you want.
Yes.
Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up, according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Oh, John, those weren't even hard to find. That was just me popping in casually sometimes, and then a couple other times maybe I just search for something. But wow, I mean, how many could I find if I really devoted myself to your channel, going through all your videos? Are you doing the Lord's work?
Just real quick before you guys go, I don't know if this is the same guy, but is this the guy, Abby? That sent the email?
Yeah.
Okay. Check your email. Let's set up a debate. No. I read your email. I looked at your channel, bro. There's no benefit in me setting up a debate with you. I don't know who you are or what you have to say. If you want to have a debate, just click the link and come on up.
1 Peter 3:16. Oh, I'm sorry. 15.b, I guess. Always be prepared to give a defense to everyone who asks you to explain the hope you have, but do this gently and respectfully, keeping a clear conscience, so that those who speak evil of your good conduct in the Messiah will be ashamed of slandering you. No shame here. From the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls to his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. Was it anywhere in there, John, that they said, only if it benefits you? What do you mean by benefit you? You mean making money for you? Is that what you mean? See, I don't do this for money. I don't need to do this for money. I worked my ass off many years, and now I'm retired. So I don't need money. I do this because I enjoy it, and to point out people like you that are disingenuous, dishonest, and, not very Christian. And I can say that because I was formerly a Christian. My wife's a Christian. She's a better person than you. And my uncle was the epitome of Christianity for most of my life. And he would never do the stuff you did. He was always always willing to talk to people. And it wasn't on his terms, it was on whatever terms presented themselves. As he saw it, God brought this person to me. But Jon, you don't want to go find the lost sheep. Are you serving Jesus by not going to the lost sheep? Am I not a lost sheep, Jon? So maybe you really need to rethink what's benefiting you or not. So let's take a look at this guy. This is his testimony. How much of it do you think is based on evidence? Let's take a listen. Now, it is, he did have some rough times, and I'm not in any way making light of that.
Guys, my name is Jon Steel, and I'm a former atheist turned Christian. It's been a while, a couple years. About 2 years ago, I was homeless. I was living in the back of a gym. I was sleeping in a gym change room and showering out of a sink, eating most of my meals out of a microwave. Now, how I got to this position is a story for another time, but it is one of the reasons that led me to God. In this time, I was horribly depressed. You couldn't tell if you were just like one of my friends. I hid it very well, but I was in a really, really bad place mentally. And when you're in a bad place, you're going to do many things to try to get out of it. You're going to try to meditate. You're going to try to put your focus somewhere else. You're going to try self-medication, if you catch my drift. And one of the things that I tried doing is I tried praying to Jesus. I went out of the change room. I collapsed on my knees. Tears running down.
Why? Why did you pray to Jesus? If you were an atheist, you wouldn't think Jesus existed. So I don't think you were really an atheist much at all. You were maybe a lazy theist in some sort with Christian influences. Because why would you choose Jesus? Why would you choose Jesus and not Allah or Judaism or Brahman or something like that? Why does it have to be Jesus, except that you've been exposed to that?
My face, I cried out to Jesus. I cried out for his help, and I was met with silence, deafening silence that convinced me that I'm a.
It's kind of interesting. He has another video in which he says, I thought, what the heck? I'd pray to Jesus. Oh, and he turned my life around immediately. Oh, which one's the truth?
Alone in this, and I got to just do it myself. Now, ever since then, things got a little bit better. I found a place to stay, got a shower. I was cooking on a stove, just getting out.
So you decided you got to find another way, and you actually started working on it, and it was working. You took initiative, and it was working. There is no God required in that at all.
COVID, and it didn't disappear. No, my depression skyrocketed. My anxiety skyrocketed, and it was destroying my life. It was crippling me. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go into a grocery store without having a panic attack. I couldn't go to work without freaking out. I would go to work, and after finishing work, I'd go into my car and just start crying because I couldn't withhold my anxiety. So things just kept getting worse and worse mentally, even though on the outside things were getting better and better. It didn't make any sense. And in a really low place one night, I called out to Jesus. I did it again, but I did it different. See, the first time I called out to Jesus, I did it in the sense of, God, you need to fix my life for me. But this time when I called out to him, it was more like, God, I'm a mess up. I'm broken. I'm sinful. I am evil. I need you to fix.
Why? How did you know about all this Jesus stuff? I mean, how did you know? If you were an atheist and you were raised in a non-religious home and you were agnostic most of your life, how did you know all this stuff? You see, there's missing pieces here that he's not saying.
Me. And for some reason, I was so blessed to actually get an answer. Now, what happened is not something I can explain. I say it's a feeling, but I don't like using the word feeling because it was next level. It's something I can't.
It was a feeling.
I can't attribute to anything else. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but I got the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit came into me. It changed me. It collapsed me on the floor. I didn't feel worthy enough to sit on my couch. So I went to the ground, and I was overwhelmed with this feeling of peace and sadness and happiness and just this realization. Like I cannot use words to explain what this was like, but it was beyond anything I could ever explain.
It was a delusion.
All my ailments were taken away. My depression vanished. My anxiety vanished. Self-medication vanished. It all went away. I didn't.
Why did God help you? And why is this essentially just a mental thing? And, what about visible, actual, demonstrable things such as paraplegic people that will never walk again because their spine was crushed. Just all of a sudden, bam. What about amputees? I mean, do you not think those people ever sincerely pray to God like you did? But some reason that doesn't get healed, Jon. Yet yours did, even though, you know, you've been working on it.
Need it anymore. It was gone. And through a series of like prayers afterwards, I was able to confirm that, yeah, this was God. This was Jesus Christ.
Wait a minute. A series of prayers to verify this was God. So you've already put the cart before the horse to demonstrate that the horse exists. Jon, this is extremely poor reasoning. You can't, you're basically just confirming your own beliefs. You can't use a method that isn't a method at all, because people use this method for all sorts of justifications. And so you still, there's no logic or reasoning behind this.
Acting in my life and changing me just like I asked him to do. I said I needed to be fixed, and he came and fixed me. Now, ever since then, it's still been a pretty wild ride. For some reason, I've been feeling convicted to study nonstop, and this is what I've been doing over the past year from morning to evening, just in constant study. And then one day I'm working and I get a phone call and I get told my position is going to be given to somebody else. It is what it is. And that's just part of life. That happens. So I lost my job. I still have it. Technically, it's on paper, but I'm not working right now. I felt angry. I felt mad. I'm like, life is starting to be good, but here's God again taking things away from me. I'm like, God, why are you fixing my life and then taking things away from me? And then I realized there's a plan. There's a plan involved. Okay, so
maybe it just happened. I mean, maybe God had nothing to do with it.
now I have more time on my hands. I start doing TikTok videos, and what I do is I start talking about Jesus, and something happens that just completely blows my mind. I actually find a little bit of success on TikTok, and I start to build a platform. My videos are being seen by people, which is blowing my mind because I'm just a baby Christian. Like, I just opened a Bible less than a year ago, and people are listening to what I have to say for some reason. I start going live. I start talking to people. They're atheists. I have other Christians coming in, people coming from different religions, and we're having conversations. And some of the conversations.
But Jon won't go to the lost sheep. He wants all the sheep to come to him. Isn't that interesting?
They're good, they're bad, they switch up. What happens is I start seeing fruit. And what I mean by that is I start hearing stories later on of people
money
coming to Christ, people strengthening their belief in God because of these conversations, people getting baptized because of these conversations. And I'll be honest, I don't know what.
So you know that the Atheist Experience, if you're not familiar with it, it's a call-in show. They always talk about how all the letters they've received from people that have helped them dump theism. So what? So what? You're not doing anything that the atheist movement hasn't done as well.
Is going on, because again, a year ago I cracked open a Bible for the first time, and now I'm in situations where I'm talking to people, which is.
Wait a minute. He cracked open a Bible for the first time. So how did he know about Jesus? Did I miss something? Has it been 2 years? Was that the other video? I don't know.
Leading to them declaring Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And I cannot be more pumped. And the only thing I can attribute it to is God and the works that he's been doing in my life. And all glory goes.
Why is it so impossible to attribute it to your own accomplishments, Jon? Maybe you're worthy of doing things on your own. There's no God involved. Because, atheists and people of other religions do amazing things all the time with their lives. And you just think, oh, well, I can only attribute it to God. Why? That's not rational. That's not logical.
To him. So yeah, that's why I'm here on YouTube now, is to continue that growth. And you know what? This might be something.
Make money.
My name is Jon Steel, and I'm a former atheist turned Christian. It's been a wild couple years. About 2 years ago, I was homeless. I was living in the back of a gym.
So 2 years ago is when he starts his story, and he says he was homeless. He was doing all this stuff and extracurricular activities, and he prayed to Jesus as one of his options. But he didn't crack a Bible open until a year ago. So, how does that work? How do you know about Jesus and even make an informed call without knowing about Jesus? So, quickly, we'll just look at one of John's arguments that he thinks defeats Islam, based on the cracking of the moon, which I'm not that familiar with the story, but there it is. Is he consistent in his reasoning? Let's find out.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So the reason that we'd say the argument specifically is not just an argument of silence, that there's no record of the moon splitting, that would just be an argument of silence. But the thing is, if the moon split, what would you would expect to see? Does the whole world see the moon?
Yes.
Is the moon splitting in half a pretty catastrophic event?
Yes.
Would you expect more than one person to write it down?
The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. Matthew 27:52 through 53. Is this a significant event, John? Is this something that people would see, especially during Passover? That they would see the saints? Who are the saints? Are they Moses? How would you know it was Moses? Who are all these saints coming out of this tomb? Regardless, if all these people, either historical or recently passed away that still had loved ones on earth, if they were seen all over, wouldn't you expect someone besides Matthew to write about it? Heck, it's not even written in any other gospel or New Testament work. So, John, are you being consistent? You're going to criticize the Muslim for this cracked moon, yet this saints thing, is it false? I mean, I guess if you say it's false, it didn't happen, then I guess you would be consistent with the Muslim. But John, if you're going to say this actually happened, then you need to explain, just like you told that Muslim, why no one else recorded this. And beyond that, what happened to those saints? Did they just crawl back in their tombs? Did they live and die again? What happened to them? Why did none of these saints write anything? John, you're getting cooked. Luke 23:44. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, for the sun stopped shining, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. When he said this, he breathed his last. John, come on now. Did this happen? Do you think this happened? I mean, you could say, well, it's also in Matthew and Mark, but Luke and Matthew just copied from Mark. It's not in John. Why is it not in John? So we have two things in this. First, it was now about noon, and the darkness came across the land till about 3. So that's 3 hours of darkness across the land. Well, what is the land? Is it just Jerusalem? Is it Israel? Is it larger than that? What's the land? Is it the Roman Empire? What is it? But even so, even if it were just, I would think it would at least mean that Israel was covered in darkness, which would be an astounding feat because the markers of countries are arbitrarily based upon, so if there was this line of darkness going around, then people should have noticed that. There were people in Jerusalem. There were scholars in Jerusalem. There were probably astronomers in Jerusalem that would have said this. However, it says the sun stopped shining. So that would mean the whole earth, John. The whole earth. The whole earth, the sun stopped shining. Did anybody else record that, John? Do you have Chinese astronomers who documented that? 3380, whatever their time scale is. Oh, this weird darkness came across the earth for 3 hours. Oh, wait a minute. I guess it had already been dark then over there. So I guess that didn't count. But still, Roman astronomers, Egyptian. Nobody else seemed to notice this. So, John, are you being consistent, or did this not happen? And if this didn't happen, how can you trust these authors? Does that mean they make stuff up? Secondly, the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Now, of course, that would not be observed by anyone except the priests that were allowed to go in there and anyone else allowed to go in there. But how did the author of Mark know this? What was his source? He couldn't have witnessed it. Mark was a young person, according to Paul, so he didn't witness it. Would the people that controlled it, the priests that apparently hated the Jesus movement, would they have allowed them to see it? Would they have admitted it to them? John, how do they know this? And why did no one else in a position write about it? Because it would be an amazing thing if the priests were going around saying, wow, when we don't know why. They wouldn't even have to know why. I mean, they could just, maybe they were ignorant of what was going on with Jesus, and they would say, wow, on this Passover, for no reason, the curtain split in half. And we don't know why. It must be a message from God. Something. But John, they don't. So are you consistent in your criticism? Because criticize thyself. What have we learned? First, John has no problem, apparently, with cussing and demeaning others, despite the fact that the Bible instructs him to do otherwise. Secondly, John won't debate me because it doesn't benefit him. However, as I have shown, the text is very clear that the Christian needs to go looking for the lost sheep and always be willing to give an answer for the faith they have. And they need to do that respectfully, which John doesn't do. Finally, John wishes to criticize a Muslim because the splitting of the moon is found nowhere in other writings, because it should be expected. But does John expect people to document saints rising from the dead and what happened to those saints? Does John expect anyone to report the darkness that was across the land because the sun went out? Does John expect no one else to have written about the temple veil ripping, even if they interpreted it in a differing way from Christians? No, John is not consistent. John is not consistent with his beliefs. As we saw in his testimony, he somehow never knew Jesus, never cracked a Bible open, yet he prayed to him. He claimed to be an atheist, yet he prayed to Jesus. Why? Why would you do that? It makes no sense. There's stuff missing from John's testimony, I'm sure. He's not recalling it the way it should be. But even the way he presents it, it is not a rational decision based on facts and evidence. As he goes into his faith now, he is attempting to rationalize his faith by saying it is logical, it does make sense, there is evidence, when there's not. And if he would debate me, perhaps, he would learn that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to get back to making videos on a regular basis. Please like, subscribe, share, comment below with anything you disagree or agree with me on. If you wish to set up a conversation or debate with me on religion or transgender issues, please feel free to do so. My email is in the description, or you could comment under this video or one of my posts, wherever that area is. Take care, and I hope whatever beliefs you have, they are reasonable.